Hello students, today we are going to learn Principles of Inheritance and Variation Part 7. In this part, we are going to learn in detail about chromosomal abnormalities. Every human cell, if you take, it has 46 chromosomes. The diploid number, that is the 46 chromosomes here. If there is any error in these chromosomes, either in the structure, if there is any error in the structure or in the number of chromosome, then this chromosomal abnormalities will occur here. So chromosomal anomalies usually occur if there is an error during the cell division. So if there is any cell division, any error in the cell division, the chromosomal anomalies usually occur here. And failure of chromatids to segregate during the cell division resulting in gain or loss of one or more chromosomes is called as aneuploidy here. So let me explain this here. So error in the number, either in the number or in the structure. So first let's deal how the error in the structure of chromosome happens. It can happen due to duplication, deletion, inversion or translocation. If you take duplication, a part of chromosome will be duplicated. Here you can see only a blue part here. This part is getting duplicated and you can see two blue regions here. And this is duplication. And next, deletion. A part of chromosome will be deleted. You can see in this case here, this blue color part, you can see here there is no blue color part here. It got deleted. A part, a segment is deleted. And inversion here, the inversion of the part of chromosomes happen here. So you can see here the yellow and blue part here. So they got inverted. This kind is called as inversion. And in translocation, you can see here what happens, the exchange of segments takes place between two chromatids here. And this type is called as translocation. We call this error as a translocation here. This is change in the structure. And coming to the change in the number of chromosomes. So here the failure of chromatids to segregate during the cell division. So chromatids here. So if you take the chromatids, so this is the chromosome and we call these as chromatids, sister chromatids here. So if there is a failure in the segregation of the chromatids during the cell division, what happens? It results in the gain or loss of one or more chromosomes. We call it as aneuploidy. So let me explain you here. This is the meiosis. During meiosis, what happens? The segregation of chromosomes, the chromatids happen here. So the chromatids here, the individual, we call them as chromatids. Then what happens in normal meiosis? If we take normal meiosis from a diploid cell, 4 haploid cells are formed here. They are having the haploid number of chromosomes. So if the diploid cell will have 2n number of chromosomes and haploid cells will have 1n number of chromosomes. So this what happens during normal meiosis. Suppose if there is any error in the segregation of the chromatids, then this condition will happen. You can see here, this is the diploid cell, and from the diploid cell you can see here, instead of haploid means they have the 23 chromosomes. Okay, instead of 23 chromosomes, one extra chromosome is there. So it is the 24. So in this case, what happened? Instead of 23 chromosomes here, one extra chromosome is there here in this haploid cell. And the diploid cell, as I told you, it has 46 number of chromosomes. Haploid should have 23 chromosomes. Haploid should have 23 chromosomes. Because of error during the cell division, the chromatids cannot segregate properly. As a result, what happens? And one of the gamete which is formed has the 24 chromosomes. And if we take this gamete here, what happened? It is having one less chromosome. So 23 minus 1, that means it is having 22 chromosomes here. So what happens? Suppose if the sperm is having 22 chromosomes and it is combined with the ovum having the normal number of chromosomes, 23. So 23 plus 22. So how many chromosomes the individual will have here? The individual will have 45 chromosomes. But what is the usual number? 46 here. And this is called the error in the number of chromosomes, and we call it as aneuploidies. Chromosomal abnormalities we are going to study under autosomal aneuploidies and allosomal aneuploidies here. So the aneuploidies is of two types, as I told you, autosomal aneuploidies and allosomal aneuploidies or abnormalities. Autosomal aneuploidies here. So we have the 23 pairs of chromosomes. In that, the 23rd pair is the sex chromosome. 23rd pair, and we call it as allosome, and the first 22 pairs we call them autosomes here. If there is any error in the number of autosomes, we call it as autosomal aneuploidies. If there is any error in the number of sex chromosome, the 23rd pair, we call it as allosomal abnormalities. Coming to autosomal abnormalities, the best examples are Down syndrome. It is called as trisomy 21, and PATAUS syndrome. It is called as trisomy 13. And coming to allosomal abnormalities, the first one is KLINEFELTERS syndrome, and they are XXY males. And the other one is Turner syndrome. They are XO females here. So these are the examples we are going to learn under autosomal aneuploidies and allosomal abnormalities. So the autosomal aneuploidy, the first autosomal aneuploidy is the Down syndrome. Down syndrome is called as trisomy 21. So trisomic condition of chromosome 21 results in Down syndrome. Trisomic condition of chromosome 21 causes this Down syndrome. So in this picture you can see, children, these are the chromosomal pairs here. When coming to 21st one, instead of usual 2 we have the 3 trisomic condition here. And if this happen, this is actually happened due to error in the number of chromosome here. If this condition happen, we call it as Down syndrome. Down syndrome, the symptoms of the Down syndrome are severe mental retardation and defective development of central nervous system here, and increased separation between the eyes. So you can see the in between the eyes increased separation will be there, and nose will be flattened, the flattened nose, and mouth constantly open and tongue protrudes here. These are called as mentally retarded people here. You can see those children will have the mouth constantly open and the tongue will be protruding out here. And this condition happens because of trisomy of 21. We call it as Down syndrome. Now let's learn the next autosomal aneuploidy, the PATAUS syndrome. It is the trisomic condition of chromosome number 13. There is a trisomic condition in the chromosome number 13. As a result, the PATAUS syndrome will happen here. And meiotic non-disjunction. Meiotic non-disjunction is thought to be the cause of this syndrome here. And some of the characters, some of the symptoms of this syndrome are heart defects, brain and spinal cord abnormalities, and poorly developed eyes, extra finger or toes, a cleft lip or cleft palate here, and weak muscles. You can see the internal organs won't develop well here. These are the common symptoms of PATAUS syndrome. Now let's learn about allosomal abnormalities. So allosomes are the sex chromosomes here. The meiotic non-disjunction of sex chromosome causes allosomal abnormalities. You can see here the first example of this is Klinefelter syndrome. We call them as XXY males. Usually males will have which sex chromosomes, X and Y, but here you can see one extra sex chromosome, XXY. You can see here usually male should have only these two, but here one extra, you can see the arrow, one extra X chromosome here. These are called as XXY males here. Usually they'll have usually the human beings will have 46 chromosomes, but here the XXY males will have 44 autosomes as usual, 44 autosomes, plus here 3 sex chromosomes are present, X, X and Y, and that makes 47 chromosomes here. So instead of having as usual 46 chromosomes, and these individuals are having 47 chromosomes here. And what are the symptoms of this disease here? They are sterile, that means they cannot reproduce. They are tall, obese, that means they're fat, they have long limbs, they have high pitched voice and underdeveloped genitalia, and then feeble breast. They will have the feeble breast here. These are the symptoms of the Klinefelter's syndrome. Now let's learn the next allosomal abnormality, the Turner syndrome. The Turner syndrome, they are called as XO females or X0 females here. You can see here, instead of 2 X chromosome, females usually have 2 X chromosomes, but here only 1 X chromosome is there. Again, this will happen because of abnormality in the separation of chromatids during meiosis here. And we call them as XO female. So how many number of chromosomes they have? 44 autosomes as usual. Normal, they will have 44 autosomes plus only 1 X chromosome here. That makes them 45 here. They'll have 45 chromosomes instead of normal 46 chromosomes here. Okay, and we call them as XO females. And what are the symptoms of this disease here? They are sterile, they have low stature, and they have the webbed neck. So underdeveloped breast, rudimentary gonads, underdeveloped gonads here, and menstrual cycle will be absent. These are the symptoms of Turner's syndrome. And this is all about the chromosomal abnormalities, children, and you just learn it. And these are trisomy of chromosome 13, trisomy of chromosome 21, or XXY males and XO females. These are all important 1-mark question. You just go through it, children. Thank you.